Hey, this is Michelle Kapaska, and welcome to my Fearless Innovator podcast. Thank you for joining me today. My hope is to inspire, educate, and entertain you. Enjoy the show. My name is Michelle Kapaska, and I'm the host of the Fearless Innovator podcast. Welcome. This week's topic is the power in the pivot. What do I mean by that? I first learned about pivoting when I played basketball in high school. I would pivot on my left foot, allowing my right foot and my right dribbling hand to be able to go in any direction I wanted. It's much the same concept in business or anything you apply it to in your life. Every day is nothing but a bunch of pivots. Another way to think about it is change, but no one wants to hear that word. That word instills fear. Perhaps you decided right out of high school you wanted to go to college to become an engineer. But after a few semesters, you felt getting your computer science degree was more favorable. You changed your focus and you went down another path. That's a pivot. If you recall Andrea's story in episode 28, where she pivoted from being a second grade school teacher to now owning her own staging business. Or maybe you remember Nicci in episode 30, where she had to shut down her own business and became a real estate investor. These are two great examples of pivoting. I did the same thing when I quit my J.O.B. in 2017 to be a full-time real estate investor. I worked for a technical company for 10 years. And in those 10 years, I remember at least 3 pivots. First, we were a networking company. Then we pivoted and we became a consulting firm. Then we pivoted again and we became a nationwide consulting firm and absorbed another company. Why do we pivot? We pivot because we can see the new opportunity that's in front of us. Or quite simply put, listen to your customers. Their feedback you receive is priceless. They will tell you what they expect from you. This will more than likely change your vision. When your vision is impacted for the better, of course, you will automatically pivot to meet the new expectation. Typically, we get to choose whether we pivot or not. Let's talk about 2020. That was the year we didn't get to choose our pivot. And if you didn't like change, boy, you were in for a rude awakening. In Florida, we were on lockdown for about 45 days. Well, I used to go to the gym every week, and now I couldn't. So what did I do? The same thing a lot of others did. I hopped on my bicycle. Yeah, the one without the throttle, and I took to the trails. I was forced to learn a new language. I didn't know how to wave at other bicyclists. I know that sounds weird, but they didn't understand my biker wave. So I took to Facebook to figure out how to wave. Many of you bought RVs, ATVs, and spent a lot more time outside with your families. What do most people fear in a pivot? Well, it's the change itself. In 2020, we had no choice. And guess what? I believe it was a great change. It brought us all closer to each other, and we started doing more things outside. I know some of you lost your J.O.Bs. Well, it's likely you didn't even like that J.O.B. And now you can basically have any J.O.B. you want. So you should be much happier. The point is, be open to all possibilities. Never shut a door before it's even been open. Investigate your options and choose wisely. The most effective teams or business owners adapt to change. I know of a ton of people that hate change. Well, you'd be better to learn to accept it because guess what? It happens every day. This just happened the other day. I got a phone call from one of my short-term rental guests. She gave me 2 pieces of advice. First off, I was thankful she took the time to call me one-on-one to share her concerns. 2, I heeded her advice because it could have had a negative impact for my future guests. Another thing to consider is when evaluating a new pivot. Make sure it doesn't require radical changes or make you scrap something that you've already done. You should be moving forwards, not backwards. Just this morning, I was listening to Darren Hardy on his Darren Daily episode, and he talked about the number one enemy to your success. It wasn't difficult for me to figure out that he was referring to you. You are your number one enemy to success. You are where you are because you're not doing anything to move forward. I had another friend just yesterday send me this saying, if you want 2022 to be your year, don't sit on the couch and wait for it. Go out, make a change, smile more, be excited, do new things, throw away what you've been cluttering, unfollow those negative people on social media, go to bed early, wake up early, be fierce, don't gossip, show more gratitude, do things that challenge you, and be brave. How many of those do you align with? What are your fears? Fear of being successful? Here's something you may or may not know. Did you know that YouTube was originally created to be a video dating website 15 years ago? They were even paying women to submit their videos. Only women got smart and they didn't submit videos. YouTube ultimately pivoted due to the overwhelming feedback they received from their viewers. And YouTube today is an online video sharing and social media platform. I wonder what would have happened to them if they didn't pivot. My guess is someone else would eventually come up with the same idea. YouTube now has gained the market share because of the pivot. They pivoted because they hit a roadblock. That roadblock led to another opportunity. That opportunity presented room for growth. And that's the secret recipe. Not all pivots are caused by roadblocks. Some pivots are created of sheer drive and vision. My next adventure in real estate is a path, quite honestly, I've never been down. But remember, when I started in real estate, I had no idea what I was doing. And my list of accomplishments are more than most. My next adventure is going to marry my experience of growing up on a farm with my project management days and with real estate. I'm planning on developing an RV park. I've wanted to do it for years. I've been researching this now for a couple of years. I've looked at several parks in Florida and outside of Florida. I've narrowed down the type of park and how I want to operate it. I know that when the timing is right, it will happen. I won't be disappointed if a deal falls through. That just means that I've learned more for the next time. I also know that I will have the most talented people working with me, and the business plan will be well thought out for my angel investors. I like to think about things this way. If someone before you has already done what you want to do, you can do it too. Even if it's not, still do it. I've pivoted from being a landlord to owning commercial property to short-term rentals and now developing an RV park. What's the reason for my pivots? First, I love every aspect of real estate, but most importantly, I learn something new every day. I love learning, which is why my sister thinks I'm smart. I'm only smart because I love learning, and it didn't come naturally, but don't tell her that. So ask yourself, are you ready to make a pivot in your life? I would encourage you to do so. I'm also interested in learning anything I can about developing an RV park. If you know someone that has done this and can share their journey with me, I'd like to talk with them and perhaps interview them for one of my next episodes. If you're interested, reach out to me at info@fearlessinnovator.com. Thank you for listening. I hope you were inspired, entertained, or you learned something new. Catch me later. Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If I can help you invest in your future, reach out to me at fearlessinnovator.com. Catch me later.